Good morning, everyone. Very happy to see a very good turnout for this webinar today, 2nd September, Saturday. We are beginning this webinar at 11 a.m. Happy to see a lot of good crowd from, not only from India, we have people from Middle East, we have from Singapore, we have from Philippines. So this means the subject is quite interesting. Unlocking the potential of video management software for operational efficiency, safety, and security. So as we keep on saying that every building today has a surveillance, how much we are using the potential of the surveillance system for our day-to-day operation. So that's a topic that we are trying to cover. So if you see in today's environment, the effective video management is no longer a luxury. Earlier, we used to sell as an additional feature that you can build into a surveillance system. And today, it's no longer a luxury or no longer an additional feature, but it is necessity. So video management software can be in linchpin for operational efficiency, safety, and security across various industries. While we begin this webinar, I was talking to Srini and Vamshi, who are developer of this software. I said, look at every angle, every industry, whether it is inventory, whether it is a warehouse, whether it is a hotel industry, whether it is a healthcare, whether it is a factory or a process industry, the need of the VMS is very much required. So today's webinar, it will be fantastic for operation managers, or admin managers, security officer, or safety officers. So let's cover up understanding what is VMS, a comprehensive look at into what video management software and key features and types. We'll also talk about how to use VMS to automate monitoring, integrate with existing system, and leverage real-time analytics for decision making. VMS also can help in safety and security, discover the advanced functionality like facial recognition, motion detector, license plate recognition, and improve your safety measures. It could be a fire management, it could be a worker management, or a construction management. You can use this VMS. So compliance, how VMS can help to meet various legal requirements, ensuring that your video data is stored and used responsibly. So how secured is VMS? Myself, Dominic, this is our 222nd webinar in last 2 years. So every Saturday, we are sharing the knowledge to almost 38,900 people attended so far. So I come from a fire industry background, the founder of FSAI, Fire and Security Association of India, and various other associations that you've seen here. And in the past, if you look at 2021 onwards, 22 onwards, we spoke about do more with your surveillance system. We spoke about beyond surveillance, that is for in pharma industry. We spoke about logistic warehouse. We also spoke about the use of VMS in educational institutions. And this is a very nice webinar we did on construction projects. So how the construction industry, how the project management can be beneficial by using VMS. So remote inspection, this is something, again, a very important topic. We spoke about remote inspection of stores. And Srini spoke about Industry 4.0, what is happening today. We are also spoke about centralized security operation. How can you bring all the various offices or a retail store spread across your country or spread across globally? How can you bring it in a common platform and operate? So we also spoke about smarter security management. We also spoke about how VMS can enhance fire safety in a building. So fire safety with computer vision, very interesting subject we spoke. And redefining surveillance through AI. So this was the last program we did. Today we are going to talk about operation efficiency and safety and security. So ladies and gentlemen, I have Vamshi and Srini today, who are the driving force of DURANC, which is a US-based company. However, entire development and support happens from India. The software of DURANC is developed in India. It's headquartered in Nashville, USA, R&D center in Helsinki, Finland, and development and global support based out of Hyderabad. Today, I would say, since we have done almost 13 to 14 VMS software, people talk about DURANC as a fantastic product and the feature that we have built in. We have seen many VMS software in the market, but however, DURANC is uniquely different. They tailor-make your requirement. It is not just a box moving or a package that you have to use only these features. So they have developed software for industry process industry. They have developed a software for healthcare, pharma. So I would like Vamshi to talk, Srini to talk about what have they done in this year. So we have speaker Srini with so much experience. I don't need to introduce in detail, but today is the face of VMS in India with various government. He's been traveling length and breadth, meeting the DIGs of the state polices. He's talking about involved with government initiative. So very well-known face when it comes to VMS. Again, Vamshi, the man, a technological man, is a technical evangelist who's been speaking about it. He's also traveling length and breadth to understand the real need of going beyond just surveillance. So he's going to talk about in depth of how do we make use of current surveillance system, go beyond current surveillance system and improve the operation efficiency, safety, and security. So I would like to welcome Srini and Vamshi. Srini, I just rushed through various previous webinar that we have done. Do you think that, is this are really getting into organization, the need of VMS, how far it has reached? Is it worth doing webinar like this, educate people, and how do we improve? How do we improve safety and security? And when you travel to many countries and many states within India, how are they perceived? How are they accepting VMS as a necessity tool? I spoke about it is not a luxury, it is not just an add-on software on NVR or DVR. How is it becoming a necessity tool to monitor better? So over to you, Srini.
Thanks, Dominic. It's always good to see you and have a fruitful conversation in a continuous of these webinars. All the previous webinars were very effective in terms of giving our message and trying to make everybody understand the technological advancements do happen, but when we do the disruptive ideas, disruptive technologies, we do have a role and responsibility to make sure that what we are developing, what we are actually building need to be made understood. Otherwise, the very purpose of doing a disruptive innovation doesn't percolate all the way down to the user. So all these webinars are very helpful in terms of putting that in perspective. And whenever we reach out to the customer, there are a lot of requirements, a lot of expectations, and sometimes there will be misconceptions. So matching these expectations and then trying to eliminate and avoid these misconceptions of implementing new technology is what is the primary goal of our education process when we reach out to the customers. surveillance as such has been there for more than 2 decades, I should say, in one way or the other. But what was implemented in the past and what it's heading towards is a sea of difference. There is a huge, leap in terms of the utilization of the technology today and for the future. So in the past, it was primarily for the evidence management. You have cameras, you call it as a deterrent, and you go back and then try to look back what the storage is, and then what the video is, trying to retrieve, and then trying to look through those just for the sake of evidence, just for the sake of understanding what has happened. But you don't have the opportunity of looking that in a futuristic perspective, where you take whatever the video that is coming into your system and try to make it as a situational awareness scenarios, and then build some kind of a business process around it, build some kind of a proactive mitigations of security scenarios, or build a process improvement opportunity out of that video. So when you have so many cameras that are all pervasive, you still need to have some kind of an opportunity to proactively look through them, not with the human eye, not with your human brain, but something that automated, something that AI looks into it. AI gives you those insights, and based on those, you have an opportunity to do the decision-making process. So if you don't have the entire flow in the application, what you are implementing is, again, a redundant system, which you will, again, have to invest your time and energy to look through them. So what DURANC has done as such is to eliminate that redundancy, create proactiveness, and then make sure that you get excellent value out of your videos that are getting into your system, and then do process them and make use them for the future purpose. So having said that, we do have a presentation that Vamshi is going to drive. We'll explain what is actually the system and how actually the impact of the system that can be used in the future. So Dominic, to your question in short, yes, these webinars are very helpful. We do need to reach out to the customer community to give inputs rather than educating them. They're already educated. I don't need to use that word, but to give more inputs of what is the new technology that is actually been made available to them so that they can use it.
Thank you. Thank you, Srini. Just before again, Vamshi takes over, these software, they're only, as I remember, there are only very handful people who develop VMS in India. So DURANC is one of the leading developer in India. How DURANC VMS, video management software, is being implemented not only in India, world over? How is the acceptability being, Indian software? Are we in line with the best of other VMS? What today's topic we are talking about, operation, security, safety. Is one edge over others? Some question to you, Srini.
So let me be clear about one aspect. There is no secondary kind of a product. DURANC is always in the top of the line. We do compete head on with all the other providers, which is a good and a healthy competition. In technology, if you don't compete, you don't bring up the new product line. So the innovation happens only if you have a competition stiff and if you have a competition which is healthy. So if you look at the market, there are 2 billion orphan cameras, what we call. The cameras that are not connected to the network are basically getting stored in the local devices, storage devices, which are being left alone without being looked after. So if you look at the small players in the VMS and analytics industry, we are in the top of the line, along with other friendly companies. So, competition is always good, but acceptance of DURANC is much better in terms of its flexibility in implementation, its flexibility in terms of how we connect the cameras, how we consolidate the cameras across all locations. be it 100 cameras that you have in warehouses across your country, or 1,000 locations of a retail, all can be seamlessly connected without changing any underlying hardware, that is cameras. And forward-looking statement, if you want to go for new breed of cameras with the coexistence of the old cameras, you still can use DURANC with seamlessly connecting all those into single platform. So we are ahead of the game in terms of our technology. We are ahead of the game in terms of innovation. That's where our strength is in terms of competition.
Thank you, Srini. What we'll do is we will move to some Vamshi for presentation on today's topic. Before Vamshi take over, I would request all the participants. We have a question answer session where you can put your question only in a Q&A box. Don't type it on the chat box. Second, those who wish to interact with Vamshi and Srini, there is a raise hand symbol. Just type on that, click on that. So once Vamshi finishes, I will invite you to speak one-on-one. So let's make the webinar more interactive. Please ask your questions, be open, because these are the learning, this is a knowledge sharing session. If you have any doubt in your mind, please be free to ask them. But post it in the Q&A box and also raise your hand to take it. Over to Vamshi.
Yep, thanks, Dominic. Welcome once again, everyone that has taken the time to join this morning. What we will do is run through a few slides, make it more of a discussion among the three of us, and then probably some of you can ask your questions and we can take up those and discuss those points as well. So when though we focus on DURANC, we will initially mention about what is the role of VMS. That's the topic of the day. So we will try to understand where does a video management system come in at all? Where is the need for it? Why is it required? We'll start with that and then go into some of the specific and some of the benefits for various departments. You know, any organization or an enterprise comprises of people across multiple departments, then how does it impact each of those people, whether you are in the security role or whether you're in the IT department, whether you are the actual end user of the systems, or you are the HR department, for example. So various departments are in operations. So how does it impact? What are the benefits that each of these roles would derive from the system is what we would like to touch upon today. And if there is anybody that is looking specifically for DURANC, what is the product about? How does it work? Any demonstration of the product that we can take up separately with the interested parties. We will set up a separate demonstration with them. This webinar, we will try to keep it at a higher level in terms of understanding of the capabilities of VMS today and what is the need for it and how does that benefit. That's what we will probably try to limit our scope to for this session, and then in depth we can take up separately with the interested participants, whoever needs more information on our product. With that, so basically CCTV, as you know, as Mr. Srini mentioned earlier, it's ubiquitous. It's there everywhere for a long time, and it works perfectly well. If you have a small shop, a small organization with just a few handful of cameras, you set up those cameras there. And even today, like multiple apartment complexes is one huge example. Every apartment complex, residential complex with 10 apartments, 15 apartments, they're also setting up CCTV, and most of them that I see are analog cameras because they're still there. They're not going away. Though we talk about IT advancements in technology, the final factor that matters for these different players is basically the cost, depending on where you are coming from. If it's a residential society, the primary driver for them is cost, not about what all they can do with the product or with the advancements in technology. So they are still implementing analog cameras. So you always have a mix and match of various types of deployments because of various considerations that come in. Consideration is not always the best thing that you can get in the world. Considerations are many, and because of that, you will have cameras from IP, analog, various types of cameras. You have probably a solar powered Wi-Fi cameras somewhere because you have a remote location, etc. So when you have an individual small location, it works perfectly well. You deploy your analog cameras or IP cameras depending on what you want. Put up your storage in your NVR or the DVR, and you're good to go, and that works perfectly well. But what if you have multiple locations? You are an enterprise and you have multiple locations that you are responsible for. You have various types of networks. You have MPLS for your connectivity. You have your ERP system running through your dedicated leased lines, for example. You have SCADA data that's coming in through that network. You can't take chances with that. So you can't take chances by having a lot of video data coming in that same network, for example. So you may have a possibility of a public IP, or you may not have a possibility of a public IP at all to connect to some locations. So various types of networks, multiple locations, you have mix of cameras, various makes and models. Because of availability, because of your project timeline issues, you may want to always go with, let's say, for example, Axis or Bosch. But depending on your project requirements and the timeline requirements, we have seen a lot of times in the recent past availability challenges with multiple manufacturers also. So because of that, maybe you would have deployed a different make and model of camera. So when you have this kind of a setup with multiple makes and models, you may have varying needs for your storage also. It's not always that you have storage, you set up some hard disk or your NAS server with X amount of storage, you think you're good to go, but then the requirement comes up due to fire safety regulations or due to other needs that you have. You may want to have offsite storage also, so that some incident happens, you don't want to lose all the data that you have stored over a period of time. So you need some offsite storage. And even then, maybe depending on the type of the activity that these cameras are covering, you may want different number of days of storage for each type of camera. So typically what happens is, if you have an NVR, you have X amount of storage, you have Y number of cameras, you just simply divide by X by Y and you have X number of days of storage. So maybe because of this storage space that you have, it may support for 15 days. You add 10 more cameras, everything goes down to, let's say, 7 days. Whereas that's not what you want to really do, because some critical cameras, you really want to keep them 30 days, but some cameras, maybe 7 days or 3 days is also good enough. So do you have that flexibility? Do you have those needs, the flexibility that there is a possibility to not randomly or generically keep the same amount of days of storage for every camera, but for specific cameras, specific functionalities, you may have different number of days of storage possibility. And then how do you control your user access when you have especially multiple locations, multiple NVRs, DVRs? Do you have control over who is accessing that data? Who has access to all this data, whether the privacy and confidentiality is being maintained or not? Whether you are able to receive or get the data when you really need that? Do you have the people that are competent enough at that location, where if you say, I need the storage for this time to this time, are they able to take it and send it to you? Is it available to you when you really need it? Because the security personnel that you deploy, it's not always the IT department that handles the surveillance cameras. There is a handshake that is required between the IT department and the security department. But then you have different people with different skill sets, different competencies in the security department that are usually responsible, though finally IT department will take care of the accountability to ensure connectivity, but the cameras are typically managed by the security personnel with different levels of skill sets. I'm not even talking about India, I'm even looking at other countries also when I say this. Security guards, and even, let's say, for example, in Singapore, are not well educated. We have seen people that do not know whether the system is up and running at all. They can just simply switch on the power and power off. That's the capability for them. We cannot expect them to log in or do anything. So with those varying levels of competencies, you need to be able to understand all these scenarios and what helps you to address these challenges, because you are not just managing one simple location with some cameras, but considering your deployment spans all these areas, you definitely need a capable video management system that can handle this kind of variation, this kind of scale and growth. That is where the video management system comes in, because a lot of times you do not even know whether your cameras are up and running. You have more than, let's say, 100 cameras. It's very difficult to say whether all the 100 are working at any point of time or not, unless somebody manually checks. So you have the VMS is the one that helps you in terms of knowing the health status of all these cameras, etc. So this is where the video management system typically comes in when you have these kind of challenges. And the benefits of setting up centralized security operations while addressing those issues is the advantages that are there for everybody to see. You will definitely have cost effectiveness because you are able to centralize your storage. It makes it easy to expand at one location rather than putting up NAS servers everywhere at every location. Maintenance, technical complexities, are better addressed when they are centrally located, because you can have competent people at one location rather than having to have them distributed across multiple locations. It helps you with standardization, because then, though you have different mix and models of cameras and different networks, etc., from your video management system perspective, from your storage and retrieval perspective, from your access control perspective, you can have standardization, because there is one system that is controlling all your devices, that is controlling all your users, where you can set up specific users access to only specific locations or specific cameras, etc. Helps you in terms of standardizing your security policies, your data retention policies, your failover policies, etc. All of them can be standardized when you have a proper video management system that's connecting all your cameras to the central location. Definitely helps in improved decision making, because there is visibility now. You do not have to depend on somebody at the remote location telling you something about that incident, going through the recording, etc. But you actually have eyes on ground with the VMS system, and then it helps you in terms of taking the right decision at the right time. Obviously helps in terms of coordination, because events can be triggered at the command center, central location. You can have your quick response teams be dispatched to the location directly, coordinating with the local on-ground personnel. So there are a lot of benefits in terms of centralizing your security operations. Would like to add any other points on the on centralizing the security operations? Definitely, yeah. So let's say, what happens, or what turns the provides those benefits, is we at DURANC move away from the eyeball monitoring to event-based monitoring of the system. So typical scenario is when you have centralized access to all the cameras, you will have a central command control center wherein you will have a set of team or monitors, and then you may have a video wall. You will be monitoring all those cameras. This is what we have seen at multiple customer locations. So they have people who are monitoring 24/7. There will be shifts, people monitoring, but then there are limitations to how much a human being can monitor. It's not possible to expect that somebody will have full attention span over a period of 8 hours. It's impossible to expect that. And the incident, when it happens, you may not know it and you may not act on it. So instead of moving away from the eyeball monitoring to event-based management, let's say, for example, especially during the night when we see a lot of events happening, especially during early hours of morning between 1 to 4 is what we see a lot of miscreants doing some stuff. So that's where you have set up analytics with video analytics through VMS. It gives you an event is triggered, that event gets auto-populated. There is no need for you to specifically go and look for events. The events get auto-populated on your command control screen like this. So any new event that gets triggered will pop up in the red color that you can see here under action. So you can quickly review that event. Whoever is there in the command control center immediately gets notified of that event, immediately sees the live view of that camera. He doesn't have to specifically click anything. The live view of that camera automatically comes on the right side here. So he can see what is actually going on there. He can immediately take an action. There is an action option there for him. He can either flag it for the review by the supervisor, for example. So you can input some data saying that please review this and then escalate it to the guy. He will get a notification. The supervisor will get a notification. He can review that event, what has actually happened. Then he can note down what is the action being taken for that, and then close that incident. So that gets into approved state. So the level of incident management also is inbuilt into the video management system that we have at DURANC. So when events trigger, from the way of taking the video feed, analyzing that video feed, triggering the event, auto-populating the event at the command center, the agent who is looking at that event, taking an action, either escalating or closing that event, this action, whatever is taken, is being tracked. And all of this data is available for you forever. It's not like some incident happened and you lost track of it. So you will have always the record of that event and also the action of that action taken record also. So you can export all this information to an CSV file or an Excel file. So over a period of time, you can review, do a trend analysis, for example, of where which locations are more prone for security threats, risks, then take further action on those, etc. So this is where the command center comes in.
Yeah. So if you look at this, the entire workflow, how it has been built in DURANC, like Vamshi was saying that the agents and the security guards and the operators at the command control center, a lot of times they are not very highly, trained or qualified or, educated. So sometimes it is easy for them, and it needs the interface need to be easy in terms of its flow. The configuration of the events, configuration of the analytics, and also anomaly configurations. Once those configurations are set up on the cameras, the events that populate in the command control center should be very easy for any kind of an agent to click and process through them. And this screen of the integrated command control center with the dashboard of ours, it's a very simplified one, so that functionally it is easy for anybody to understand that the time to train is very less, and trying to get them on board and then start using the system will be very less. So this flow was designed primarily on the browser without having any plugins, to make sure that it's easy for them to understand and also to use it on a daily basis. So that becomes train the trainers, and then training the agents, all becomes very comfortable and then simple process. In a day or so, you can train anybody on the system, and then they'll become functional to utilize the workflow.
Yeah, definitely. When we designed the system and implemented this, the end user is kept in the center of the focus always, all the time. Not the technology that is being used, not the IT departments who are well versed with technology, but the actual end user who is going to use this system, and how easy it is for him to manage a particular camera, to fetch a specific recording of a specific time. How easy it is for him is what has been considered all the time. We will go through some of those points as well in a subsequent slide. With the deployment of VMS system, when we say VMS now, it's an integrated analytics system also. It's not just the VMS, which is basically taking care of your cameras, but also processing those videos through artificial intelligence, through computer vision and neural networks technologies, making use of that, triggering the events for specific anomalies that you define, starting with the simplest of the intrusion detection to facial recognition, to license plate detection, or any other specific anomalies that you define for your industry, for your vertical. We have the possibility in the system itself, which is an integrated system with VA, video analytics also. So with the integrated system of DURANC Vision, the impact that gets for various departments is that, starting from the security team, who, as I said, typically monitor the cameras, you will have full control of your premises, all your locations, multiple locations, you will have full control over that. You can enable your on-the-ground staff to respond quickly, because there is integration with hooters, for example. When there is an intrusion, a hooter alarm can sound automatically. There is a relay integration that's possible, automatically switching on the headlights if somebody comes in your premises. There is a breach of the perimeter protection. So you have those possibilities, and enables immediate response to events that happen as they happen. For the IT team, there are a lot more benefits in terms of the goal for the IT department is to ensure that your users have the right tools with them. And DURANC Vision is given as the right tool for the security department and the end users, so that they can do their job more efficiently and more effectively, helping the organization. For them, it's easier because there are fewer systems to maintain. You don't have to worry about what type of cameras. When you have time to maintain them, to replace them over a period of their life, you don't have to worry about what exact camera was kept for license plate detection at X location. You can simply mix and match, procure any other camera that's available. If you have a preferred brand, fair enough, take the same brand, but don't have to worry about what exactly are the features that need to be looked at in the camera should provide. So pick up any camera that suits your needs, simply take it and replace it with the camera that you have to replace. So it makes it easy for the IT department, not having to maintain separate inventory levels of what type of each camera, where it is used, for what purpose it is used. Because any camera feed can be analyzed, even including analog cameras in our scenario. So even if you have some analog cameras, some IP cameras, analog camera feed can also be taken into the platform. We can run video analytics on the analog feed also. That's the benefit for the IT teams. Operations teams obviously are the users for the analytic events that get triggered. So you can monitor the processes, you can ensure the SOPs are being maintained, and safety compliances are being followed by your staff, etc. And you can improve let's say you can monitor your queue length as an example. All these kind of things, various things that you can do with the analytics can help you in terms of taking better decisions, quicker decisions based on the data, not based on intuition, because intuition depends a lot on the individual. So the way systems should function is typically taking away the competencies of individual, keeping that slightly minimized, but ensuring the data is provided to whoever is there in the role to be able to take the right decisions, not just based on the capability of one individual. Your organization cannot run based on that. So the video analytics provide you that data, the inputs in terms of operations, how they are happening, and you'll be able to take appropriate decisions with that data. Then we have commercial, finance guys should also be happy. Obviously, they should not look at implementing of VMS and VA as an expense. It's not just a cost center. It's basically an asset for your organization. It is there to help improve your customer confidence. If you are looking at, let's say, logistics, for example, the customer confidence should come from whatever products that you are actually using for the logistics company to ship, they're always protected. They reach the end customer at the other location safely and in time is what is needed for the customer confidence. And how do you give that there's no pilferage, there's no theft happening, etc., is important for that, improving that customer confidence. That's what it provides. The capable VMS system with analytics, that's what it provides in terms of helping improve your customer confidence, not running the risk of any losses, etc. And from a HR perspective, to ensure your staff and your visitors are safe and secure within your premises, your staff is following the right procedures, whether it is operational procedures, whether it is in terms of attendance tracking through, let's say, facial recognition, etc. So these are the aspects for various departments. The benefits will come through the capable DURANC Vision Video Management System. Now we will look at some more details in terms of users and IT department and the enterprise as a whole when we look at some of the benefits. As we touched upon earlier during this session, for the end user, which is probably either the security guards or the agents monitoring in the command control center, no, not much of technical knowledge is required. The skill gap will be minimal. With the minimal training, they will be able to use the system at an optimal level. They ensure they know what is an event and how to handle that event, where to track this, etc. Pick up the recording automatically from that specific location, camera, etc. All of that, you don't need a lot of technical knowledge. There's no plugins required. There's no other software that is required. Browser, everybody is familiar with. You open a browser, you log in with your credentials. System shows you whatever you are allowed access by your administrator. Not everything in the platform is accessible for them. Like, for example, the agent should not be able to change the zones that you would have defined on the camera for intrusion detection or facial recognition. They won't be able to change any settings, parameters of the camera or the analytics, but should be able to make use of that to see the events and take action on them. So the browser interface helps in that with nothing to install, a simplistic way of it. Ease of diagnosis is very important still. No matter whatever video analytics that we have on top of it, which add value in operations, still the basics cannot be ignored, which is basically if there is an incident happens, how fast, how quickly you can retrieve that specific recording and ensure you realize what actually happened and take appropriate action. So the system allows you to get onto every minute of that session. So even events that trigger will come up in a timeline view. So you can quickly look at whenever events have happened. That event you can click immediately. The system takes you to the recording of that specific minute of the event that got triggered. So makes it very easy. I know people, the security departments that say the biggest problem for me is when they say something happened, some mobile was stolen in the conference room last 2 days back. My team has to go through 24 hours of video to figure out what actually happened, who took it. Can you help me? This is the typical question that comes up in multiple places from multiple customers for us. And definitely that's addressed by the DURANC Vision system. not only the events getting triggered, but you can also automate reports, for you to receive automatically, whether it is daily basis, weekly basis. You can schedule reports to come. Whether you are interested in the health of the cameras, you have, let's say, 1,200 cameras all across the country at various warehouses. You have a one snapshot view every morning? Okay, these locations, X number of cameras, the 10 cameras, the 20 cameras, 100 cameras are down. You may have multiple vendors who are managing, because obviously you cannot expect the same CCTV maintenance guy to manage cameras in Jammu Kashmir versus Kanyakumari. So you may have different vendors, but you know which location cameras are down. You have a possibility to quickly alert them and they fix that cameras for you, because we don't expect all the maintenance of cameras to happen in-house. So how does it help you in terms of your managing your CCTV vendors is another aspect of the help that VMS provides. In storage, we spoke about earlier also in terms of the flexibility the solution should offer, in terms of how many, for critical cameras, you may have more number of days of storage, non-critical cameras maybe lesser number of storage, off-site storage, having the redundancy, the failover, not just on site, but also off-site. Maybe it's the cloud, maybe it's your corporate data center. So you have a possibility to store it off-site. That's important aspect for the user. No matter where it is stored, it should be easy for the user to retrieve. We should not care. The end user should not care where the data is coming from. Is it coming from cloud, server? Doesn't matter for him. I need the recording of yesterday 3 o'clock. I should be able to get it, and the system should take care of that. And that's how simple it should be. Yeah. And there are other aspects for the user in terms of grouping of cameras. The system allows you to group cameras, logical grouping of cameras, no matter where the physical locations are. Depending on the functionality of the camera or the area that it is covering, you can group all your entry-exit cameras, for example, all your cash register cameras, all your reception area cameras. So whatever is the need, based on, again, you can create subgroups of it with geographic locations, maybe every district as a group, maybe every state as a group, every region as a group. So for your regional manager, he can have access to, with the one click, all his regional cameras of his region, etc. So that makes it easy for the end user perspective to create nested subgroups of it. We spoke about health monitoring earlier. Health monitoring is a critical aspect, because most of the times the basis whether you have the camera working or not. Without the camera working, nothing else will function. No recordings, no analytics, etc. So the basic requirement is the camera should be online, should be able to provide the video feed for recording, for analysis, etc. So you can take quick actions if any camera is down. If the system alerts you, enables you to take quicker actions on that. Yeah, and then notifications also for specific types of events. Different set of people may be required to be notified. Like, for example, if the camera is down, can go to the security personnel, then to the vendor. If it's an attendance issue, or if it's a stranger entering, it could go trigger to the IT guy. If somebody else does, a non-authorized user is trying to enter into your data center room, that should be notified immediately to the IT team, for cybersecurity team, etc. So you can, for different set of events that trigger in the system, different set of people can be notified. And as we said, in the command center view, all these events automatically populate in the command center view, and the authorized users will be able to take action, note down what is the action taken, and that be tracked overall. Then coming on from an IT department perspective, we touched upon a few of these points already during the discussion. So quickly to summarize, you shouldn't have to worry about what kind of network you have. You may have MPLS, dedicated lease line someplace, 4G SIM card connectivity and some remote locations, because some construction is happening for your organization, it's expanding. You need to monitor that, and there is no possibility to have. And it should be a mobile unit also, for example, because the construction keeps changing. You still need a way to monitor what is going on there. And you have a mobile unit with a 4G SIM card connectivity. Are you able to bring that? So should you worry about what kind of connectivity? Where do I get broadband for that location? No. No matter what is the condition there, the VMS system should allow you to do what you need to do, and you don't have to worry about sparing your critical bandwidth for which is used for your critical systems with the video data, because video data is data intensive, data heavy compared to your regular data of ERP systems, for example. So you can separate out your video data into a regular broadband type of network or a 4G network, etc., instead of combining it with your costlier MPLS lines or dedicated lines. Connectivity, as we said, from any location, obviously, centralized access management for the users is a very critical aspect, along with audit logs. Who has access to what? Who has access to this camera earlier? It's critical to know for the IT department to understand that nobody is tampering with the system, especially if you do port forwarding, etc. The cyber security is a huge concern. Privacy and confidentiality is definitely a huge concern. Who is accessing this data, whether only authorized users are accessing or not, is an aspect that the DURANC Vision helps with the IT team there. Maintenance, obviously, it's very easy because a lot of the components provided by the system are auto-updatable. So there is an update that we push to the platform. Automatically, all these locations, get updated with the latest version of the software. Fully secure with encryption, end-to-end encryption is there, both in the transit when the data is transferred across the client and server, but also in at rest when the data is stored on the servers. That's completely encrypted with the latest technologies, latest protocols, etc. So you are assured of your security and confidentiality and privacy being maintained for your cameras and the video data. It also supports multicasting in the system, so that you don't have to worry about how much of data or bandwidth is used or what kind of resources are used at the end location, at the source of the video data. So whatever, if let's say, for example, 5-6 people are watching, 10 people are watching the same camera, only one feed is taken from the location through that 4G SIM card network, for example. Only one feed comes from that remote location, but you can monitor in your regional office in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, and then your head office in Delhi, Mumbai. All of those locations can monitor simultaneously because only one feed is coming from the source, and your central system, the DURANC Vision platform, is doing that multicast and enabling everybody to have a seamless experience of the same video.
Vamshi, I want to touch upon one of the points here you mentioned. IT department. One of the main concerns for the IT department is the safety and security of the data that is being transmitted. Most of the time, the devices that are there at the remote locations, they are not cybersecurity protected. A lot of times they are exposed devices, they are actually getting access by somebody else, and you are not even aware of that. See, a lot of times you expose your IP address, you expose your user ID and passwords, which are commonly used across all your locations. So that actually exposes your data and exposes your streams. DURANC, what will happen is you have a very tightly built security process where your administrators and your process approvals go in a very systematic way that who needs to get what kind of an access to which kind of a camera, whether the user need to get just the access of the live feed, or whether the user can also get the access to the events that are getting fired, or they can actually do the archives can be looked through by this user. You can go very minutely what is the access that you need to give to the data and to the camera infrastructure all across the country, in all across your systems, just with the centralized administration of the users with their privileges. So that, having said that, that actually controls your entire data flow and also protection of the data and make it very centralized in terms of utilization.
So basically, there's no limitation to in allotting certain features to limited people. There's no restriction on it.
See, we don't restrict the number of users that you can create as an administrator across your organization. At the same time, there is a granular level of access that the administrator can provide to each individual user. Some users who just give the access to the live feed, from there you can go and then drill down and create whatever the kind of access that you can give to the single individual user. And that is all logged, and that is all can be looked back in case if something need to be looked back. Right, Vamshi?
Definitely, yes, exactly. So then moving on at an enterprise level, basically, for an enterprise, the benefits are also obvious in terms of your ability to make use of existing infrastructure, existing investment that you have already incurred in terms of your CCTV infrastructure, be it cameras, recorders, storage spaces, etc. Whatever you have, the ability to make use of them, convert them to be intelligent enough, because the analytics, as I said, are integrated in the DURANC Vision platform. So once you have deployed the platform, you not only have the ability to add any of the cameras and control the user access, but you also have the capability to apply video analytics on top of those cameras, any existing camera. You don't need specialized cameras for that specific purpose. So it protects your existing investments to ensure all of whatever you want to do in terms of analytics, you can start applying them. If at all, there is a need to change later on, it should not be because the camera does not support analytic. It's only because maybe, its lifetime of the camera is over. You may want to replace that from old analog cameras as a process that you have as an enterprise. So older than, let's say, 5-7 years of cameras, you may discard and then procure new. At that point, again, you have the flexibility to choose whichever camera provides you the best quality stream, and that's all that is required for us. Basically, the quality of the stream is what is needed. No other functionality of the camera is dependent on the platform. So, and you move away, you get the ability to move away from the eyeball monitoring, because obviously once you cross a few hundred cameras, then it's impossible to have eyeball monitoring. You need to have the ability to have a system that can analyze that and give you important information. So it helps you, the DURANC platform helps you with that, analyzing the data and giving you, letting you focus on the areas that you need to focus on. The system is completely scaled.
Praveen, you have a question on the slide that been presented by Vamshi. You can unmute if you have a question on the slide, that particular slide that you want to ask. Rajesh, you're welcome to speak if you have a question on the slide. Rajesh Aroraji, you want to talk to Vamshi? Okay, we'll continue. We'll take the question.
We'll probably wrap up with another slide. I think we will wrap up and then get into any questions in that case.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's completely scalable. As you add more locations, add more cameras, fully scalable to any number of users, any number of cameras, any number of locations, etc. Completely scalable. You can also, the analytics, while the system also by default provides a host of analytics that are useful across multiple scenarios, multiple verticals, there is a possibility to create, because all these analytics are based on computer vision and machine learning. So we can train the system to detect newer type of objects, newer type of anomalies, newer type of behaviors, etc. So that can be trained into the system, matter of a bit of a time, and getting the right data, training the system, and then we can deploy it as a custom deployment for a specific scenario. So that's possible to extend. It's not just off the shelf, but we have a lot of possibility for customization. The system also provides well-defined APIs so that you can easily integrate, be it with your visitor management system, for example, when the number plate of the vehicle is detected. If it's a registered vehicle already of a resident, you are allowed, boom barrier opens automatically. But if it's an unknown vehicle, visitor's vehicle, you can, with the data can be pushed to a visitor management system along with the number plate, the image of the vehicle, etc. The visitor management system can take further action, as an example. So you have APIs that allow you to push data to external systems, makes it easy for your running as an enterprise with your other enterprise applications. So video data and video system is not running in a silo, but it's part of your enterprise group host of apps that you run in your enterprise. With this, probably we will end the presentation and then get into questions. Just an indicative, examples of where all it can be used is what we wanted to convey. Basically, this is by no way limiting to only these aspects of it, or this is not an exhaustive list. Just an indicative to see, how the VMS VA from the DURANC Vision platform helps in various activities that you have as an organization. Whether it is starting from the conducting central audits, visual merchandising audit in a retail scenario, for example, having eyes on all your locations, safety for a warehouse scenario to ensure you have automatic detection and alert for an intrusion detection, or evidence management for your security personnel, quickly gather the recordings from no matter where you are, and to process adherence, ensuring your people are following the right processes, do quality checks of the product, for example, is another area. The final product can be inspected through computer vision, and anomalies can be notified. So even process adherence, sequence of the processes, quality checks of the end product can be done through the system. Compliance to safety regulations, safety aspects can be done, whether people are wearing the safety kit, helmets, etc., etc. So these are an indicative areas of how we can make use of the video analytics, the integrated analytics through the VMS itself, by making use of the existing camera streams, processing them, and then gaining the insights that help you in terms of your operations, security and safety aspects.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll
Chief.
close.
Probably go to the previous slide. Okay. I would now allow Praveen, if you are there, you can ask question. Now let us open the question answer session. Those who want to speak to Srini or Vamshi, please raise your hand. I will one by one allow you to speak. And I also welcome question answer. People have questions, you can type it in the Q&A box. So, Rakesh Aroraji, you're unmuted. You can speak.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks a lot for your insightful presentation on that very important topic of surveillance. I have two small queries because I am dealing with many projects in Delhi, and in every project we go with the VMS. That is a mandatory thing in the present scenario, in the present system. The problem I am facing is I am not getting the test report associated with VMS. And secondly, the specification I have is very vague. I'm in difficult situation how to specify the camera and how to get the accurate GTP of the camera I need for my substation surveillance as well as for my transmission line and my fire acquisition. Yeah.
Sir, I think it is.
I will be grateful to you if you can send your representative to my office. We will deliberate on the issues and we can come out with some solutions I want to get.
Sure, sir. Definitely, sir. Basically, the way we have done the VMS is it's not a boxed solution like what Dominic has already explained. It is not a container kind of a model. A lot of times in implementation of these new systems in terms of camera solutions, you need to have flexibility of what kind of a VMS that need to do, what kind of a analysis that it needs to do in terms of video analytics. So that is where we have developed an open architecture system, and we can accommodate many analytics for your future purpose, and then custom development can be done also for that. So all these
definitely, I would like to have surveillance on many good assets like transformer, reactors, and other important assets I have in my substation and my transmission line, and how to use it in a better way. I think you are the right person to talk with.
Sure, sir. Definitely, because we have done development for different industries. Like if you see the example of sugarcane industry, how we have built a small solution for them, where the foreign objects that are falling on the conveyor belts that goes into the crusher and then destroys the crusher. With the regular cameras, we actually detect them early on, and then we push the hooter immediately, and also we give the relay integration connection to the switch where it can be override, switched off, so that it actually prevents the damage to the crusher. So these are all custom requirements in specific industries. You said.
That's why I'm requesting you for one-to-one meeting so that I can let you know my requirement and your solution from your side.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much. We will reach out to you.
Thank you, Rajesh Aroraji. Rajesh Aroraji is an evangelist in electrical safety. He keep doing many programs on YouTube, and he's also an educator and very passionate electrical inspector. So I thank you for Rajesh Aroraji to come and grace his location and also show your interest on the subject. Praveen, if you're still there, you're unmuted. You can unmute and ask the question. Okay, I'll take the question from Aju Johar. Is the analytics being done on edge or centrally? I think Srini is already, you would like to answer. Srini, please go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, I think I'll take up that question. So analytics, we have multiple models, we have multiple deployment models that are possible. Typically, we do it on the cloud because we require the GPU servers. As I said, all the analytics are based on computer vision and machine learning with neural nets. That's where the differentiating factor is also there. It's not based on motion detection that we do. So with the proper AI and computer vision, we use the GPU servers on the cloud. Having said that, it is also possible to have a hybrid deployment model wherein part of the analytics can happen at the location. Edge for us is not the camera per se, but the same location, maybe within the same LAN. If you have more number of cameras and you have bandwidth challenges, we can work out multiple deployment models. So to quickly answer in one short sentence, They're typically done centrally, but we have a hybrid deployment model also that's possible.
Thank you. Rupa, you're unmuted. You can, if you're there, the speaker, please go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question would be like in the distribution sector, the question would be specific to the distribution sector, DISCOMs, and it would be the real-time management wide remote system for DT transformers, 11 kV, 33 and EHT systems, related specific monitoring of reduction in human electrocution cases. That is, although it is implicit, I would want the most economical cost model for the effectiveness implementation at the ground level in the field, specifically field works, and 100% safety result out of it. So cost effectiveness would be the main option. Main option in this in this model. So which one we should opt for?
I will just add some value to what Rupa. So Rupa is from distribution business, that is, electrical distribution company. What she's saying, if a person is not wearing a PP, can you identify? What are the chances of electrocution a person? So how do you avoid those people are entering without a certain measure that you must take? So over to you, Srini and Vanshi.
So, ma'am, I think, Rupa, ma'am, the question that you asked is two-part. One is about the budgeting of the implementation. The second one is effectiveness of the solution. See, the budgeting of the implementation, when it comes to the cameras, and also the what kind of cameras that you need to install for what kind of a purpose. Like Vamshi has already explained, if you are constrained by budget, since our analytics work on pretty much most of the cameras, almost all the cameras, be it analog or IP cameras, lot of times you can have a mix and match of reduced cost cameras, whether it be it indoor or outdoor, to get optimum level of analytics to run on top of them, and then get the best benefit out of that. The second aspect is we do work with our customers in terms of deployment models, wherein we optimize our budget also. The end purpose of the whole thing is risk mitigation and loss prevention, and then saving of the lives. So having all these three aspects kept in mind, we do suggest and create an opportunity of solution for specific purpose of the specific customer. Nothing like one size fit all, like all the whether the retail, whether the discoms, the industrial establishments, all doesn't have the same kind of a need and requirement in terms of safety and security. That's where we do create.
I specifically mentioned this, keeping in view the more number of accidents which is happening in the discoms. So correct. In this sector, so any specific model which would be easily approved also, and the cost would be, the budget would not be a problem when it goes for approval through the state and the central government, because here our hands are always tied up at this level, because whenever we wait for an approval, it takes lengthy, a lengthy procedure, and we end up in waiting for some years, and finally sometimes we end up with denial of the approval. So my specific question was related to the economical cost model, so that it would even serve the purpose, and even easy and rapid approval from the state or the central government. So if anything specific, I would just leave my email so that I could just send me, even if it's a one fits for all, but I would want something, if you could just customize or If you could
Absolutely,
just
ma'am.
something, yeah.
That is what we are suggesting. We can come and then do the site survey of one or two areas of yours, and also give you optimum utilization of the solution, reducing unnecessary noise factors, and then make it as a very clear point to the implementation. That way, you can reduce a lot of budgets, and also you get the better implementation model. So we do work with you on that, and then give us time. We'll visit your place and then also do the site survey and suggest you a best suitable solution for your kind of a need and requirement. Vamshi, if you want to add anything?
Probably I would just add one point, because we have models are flexible, where if you have a challenge specifically with, let's say, CapEx, we can convert that into an OpEx model. The analysis and the data can be converted into an annual recurring type of a model. So we have both CapEx model and OpEx model. So whichever is more suitable, whichever you think allows you to get faster decisions, we can work through that. So let's take the discussion offline, and definitely, ma'am, we'll be in touch, and then we'll discuss further on that.
Thank you, sir.
So I'll take a question from Satyajit. Can you differentiate features to the other VMS or a USP of the system? I think we'll begin with that. But anyway, Srini can just highlight what is the USP of VMS, the DURANC VMS.
So we are not just the VMS. DURANC is a complete 360 degrees platform with entire video management system plus video analytics integrated into one single platform. And further to that, the deployment models are flexible in terms of total on-prem deployment, or it can be total on-cloud deployment, or it can be hybrid deployment of your local plus the cloud. Beyond that, if there is a requirement in terms of some more flexibilities, we can actually design it for your purpose. So we are not a typical single VMS solution with limited features. We are basically a complete comprehensive VMS and analytics platform, and with the flexibility of adding more analytics beyond what the list that we have. We have a complete list of analytics that can be applied on any camera. See, the beauty of the system is it is not about what kind of a camera need is there for specific analytic. You take any camera, you apply more than one analytic. If you want, you can apply more than one analytic. You have a front area camera where you want to do the people counting, and also when there is a stopped vehicle, you need to check for the stopped vehicle. So you are applying two different analytics, and these are going to fire events and send the notification on WhatsApp or email or command control pop-up to two different people, because those are managed by two functional departments. So the flexibility of the system is endless. It got VMS, it got analytics, and it got a complete way of firing the anomalies and then sending it to different people. All this is managed in the with the browser without much of a plugins requirement or much of a additional softwares that are required. So we do stand apart from other VMSs and analytics, because some VMSs, they only give you VMS and ask for analytics to be purchased from third party. And there are some with our integrated. So if you look at our solution, you can try it out, and for you to see it, you can actually analyze on your own, because we provide you on a proof of concept basis or a trial basis if you require. And also further to that, like what Rupa ma'am was asking, we do customize and then give you a good draft of implementation model to suit your need that is actually within the budget of yours. So all these happens because we are the OEM, we are the developers of the entire solution, and we control the entire system, and we are flexible in terms of working with the customers.
Okay, I'll go. I hope I'm getting the name right. Sri Vikraman, question. There are three questions or two questions asking. What are the innovation we could foresee with VMS integrating with subsystems such as, access control, ICCC, boom barrier, any disruptive innovation we could think? That is question number one. Question number two, how do we see VMS, video analytics and IoT coming together?
Yeah, the answer to the first question is actually in his second question to some extent, because the integration is not only with the boom barriers, with the hooters and the relay devices, etc., but also with the IoT devices that are percolating now all across. Especially when we look at Industry 4.0, we have covered some of these aspects in our earlier webinar on Industry 4.0, wherein the integration is not just with the applications, software applications, but also with the IoT devices that perform various functionalities. Like in a pharmaceutical scenario, for example, in a highly controlled environment, if there is any vial that is spilled on the ground when the robo is taking these medicines prepared, if there is a drop, then the exact coordinates can be pinpointed by the VMS, the analytics, and then another cleaning robo can go and clean it up. All these interactions with the IoT devices, with the robots that are going to be working with humans in hand is going to be the next level of integrations and the innovations that will be coming up. The humanoid or the human robo interaction with the IoT devices is going to be taking over very soon.
So we cannot perceive the isolation of video management and video analytics. It has to be downstream, upstream, integrations. Be it IoT, be it incident management, be it any kind of ERP. The data has to flow both ways. It has to come into our system, and we have to process it or consume it. And at the same time, we should be able to give data to the downstream systems. They have to use the video data or metadata or the video event data that into their system and then consume it as a consuming application. So this two-way interaction with most of these IoT devices, most of the external systems, is a compulsion in the future. You cannot create a complete video management and analytics system without having a proper interaction with different external applications and external devices. So we have created the entire open architecture in terms of that to inflow and outflow of the data, both for the purpose of internal consumption and also for giving the feed to the external systems. That is actually open in terms of our solution architecture.
Not much of question left, Srini and Vamshi. So we have done with, there is no hands are raised for any further questions. So good interactive session that we had today. All these recordings will be made available. As I had mentioned to you in the earlier, we have done webinars for particular industry. Now, one interesting one has come up is managing, DISCOM, distribution center. That is for the electrical community. We have done for healthcare, pharma, warehouses, construction. So this could be electrical also to reduce. How do we reduce the risk? To what level? How do you warn the authorities that if someone is entering to a danger zone, their chances of electrocution can be higher? So we could probably do dedicated, because as you have seen that we have been driving National Electrical Code conferences everywhere. I have very huge, participants for that. I'm sure that would be quite interesting for electrical, management companies. So we could do how VMS can play a role in reducing the risk in electrical. So, Srini, every time we keep discovering new subject, new vertical, new opportunities, there's no, as I said, there's no end to any solution that we can offer. If client want particular, and if we can do a feasible study by visiting, then of course we can develop. That's what I love in DURANC. There is nothing. There's not a box moving. It's evolving. Software that every day there are so many improvements. If you look at traffic management, it's a very big subject. So yes. Where there is I just came back from Middle East. I could see parking is a big issue in Dubai, and you pay quite a heavy price. So how do we, managing that parking, and how do I get to know notification where the parking is available. I'm sure through surveillance we can achieve many more. I'm sure you are our country also, and you are from Hyderabad. There are better way we can manage traffic through VMS. So we could also cover such subject that would be interesting. Another is for process industry. Now that's another interesting subject we could cover. So there is no end to our webinar on VMS. This we can keep having it every month. So never as long as our participants are not tired by listening to this. Yes, it's very motivating to see good turnout. And I'm sure in our next webinar we'll have better participants. And I want to thank those who joined from Middle East like Qatar. I could see people coming in. There are Philippines. So our webinar reaching globally, not restricted to India. So thank you very much for your wonderful, and thank you for spending the time with us on weekend Saturday. And we look forward to see you again. I want to thank Srini and Vamshi, and also the people at background, Kirtana, and we have Nabia and Keshav, who worked hard to populate this whole digital media about this webinar. I want to thank them. We look forward to see you. We'll announce the next webinar on the subject very soon. And this webinar recording will be made available to those who missed it and also those who attended. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Srini and Vamshi. Have a wonderful time with your family weekend. Stay safe. God bless you.
Thanks,
you.
Dominic.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dominic.